Hi friends, welcome back to the Share Report. If you're new here, thank you so much for joining. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, and for those who are returning, thank you so much for being here, for your support. Definitely appreciate it. So I hope you watched part 1 and part 2 of my health story, healing journey, and all the things, because that'll give you a good background from where I'm starting off now for the rest of the story. And just where I had left off. And one of the things that I had mentioned, that I had went to the neurologist for the first time, and then I went again the second time to do kind of like a follow-up and talk about the MRI and all the things. And so they were not sure. And you may remember from the first video, I had mentioned that they put me on a cholesterol medication. I did not take it at first. I was on some other medications like a blood thinner and obviously because of the clot, and then aspirin. I had to take that daily. I think they probably would have said I still should be on it, but I don't take anything anymore. And then also they gave me a cholesterol medication, which I didn't take, but I was still having some issues, so I was still thinking that I was stroking. So I pretty much got scared into taking that, and I took that for a little bit, like a month or so, because I was like fearful of having another blockage in my brain. So I was taking that, and to this day, I know that was one of the things that made me feel so terrible. It was the worst thing, taking that cholesterol medication. It was the worst thing. It made me feel terrible. I mean, extremely terrible. And I told the neurologist, I said, I stopped taking that. That made me feel really bad. So she's like, well, what happened? What made you feel like, it was making you feel terrible? So I told her, and I don't know if they have to record the various reactions, sort of like bears or whatever, where they have to record the various reactions that people have of these medications. So she's asking me, like what happened and all the things. I said, only thing I know is that it made me feel really bad. And fast forward, it was one of the causing to make me feel even worse and worse than I had already been feeling, was definitely making me progress in the wrong direction. So with that being said, so they're like, well, we don't really know. I had mentioned to her, because like all the symptoms I was having, the red flag of, as we all know, multiple sclerosis was on the table. So I had asked her about that, and she kind of looked at me. She goes, well, your MRI was clear, and typically you have to have at least a lesion. Thank God mine were clear. So we had another one of my cervical spine, because that's where I was having a lot of pain. She's like, well, let's just double check, hence where I had left off. She says, do another MRI, CT scan. Let's check to see if there's any damage from when you had the blockage. Let's also see if there's anything there. So they do the whole checkup and everything, and thank God they came out clear. Of course, everybody in my church had been so wonderful. Even during this whole entire time, my church family was just great. They were supportive. They were there. It was just great support, especially during my time off. Just everybody was really great. And then just helping, and of course, my mom, my family, helping me through like all the anxiety of everything, because I'm like, what on earth is going on? I'm like, never felt this bad before. I'm in pain all the time. I can't function. I can't sleep. Like in the middle of church, it's like awful feeling, having a complete anxiety and panic attack, because all of a sudden you're having this horrible pain, this horrible numbness, and it feels like someone hit you in the head, in the back, like in the back of the head with a rock, and you have like this severe pain all through your face and your head, in my head, and all this. So I'm like having to leave out of church, and I'm sitting in my car crying, because I'm like, what is going on? I'm in such pain. So anyway, so that's where we kind of left off with the neurologist, and and she's like, you didn't have any lesions, pretty much. That's what she said. So we can't really say it's MS, but there's definitely something wrong. She says, we're going to refer you. There's like 3 major hospitals, like places here in Florida. It's a place in Jacksonville, Tampa, and then in Gainesville. So there's like 3. You can choose whichever place you want to go, depending on where you live near, or maybe your preference. So they're like, we're going to refer you to go to them to do more testing, basically to see if it's really MS, because all of the symptoms that I was having was definitely pointing to MS minus lesions. So Anyway, so I was like, you know what? I'm kind of like sick and tired of this. I'm sick and tired of the traditional mainstream doctors that are supposed to be specialists, and they're supposed to be the perfect person that you go to. They're supposed to be the, what's the word I'm thinking of right now? Like the professional. They're supposed to be the professionals. They're supposed to know about this. Of course, when she did meet me, she says, well, you know, we were dealing with the brain. The brain is a very complex muscle, organ, whatever. And, you know, it's kind of hard to narrow it down. So, you know, we're dealing with my brain, neurological issues, that's with your brain and your spine. So anyway, so I had enough of that. Meantime, like I had mentioned to you, I had a friend from work that had suggested that I go follow up and see this holistic neuromuscular practitioner here in Florida. It was a ways away, but I was willing to do anything to just not be in pain, and so that I can get back to work and get back to my daily life, because like I said, I was in such pain. So I make an appointment with the person, and I know it was a blessing. God put her in my path. Like I said, I have such support from friends, family at church, and my mom, you know, and everything. So I take time off from work, I make an appointment, and I still had other doctor's appointments lined up because they're like, we need to figure out what happened, what caused this. Like I had a cardiologist appointment to do another echocardiogram and to see if this had something to do with my heart, maybe that caused the clot, whatever. So it's like I'm going through all of this, like poking and prodding and experimentation. And when I get to the cardiologist, she's like, oh, wow, I wasn't expecting this. She says, you're the youngest person I've known that's ever had, my youngest patient. And that didn't make me feel good. She goes, I've never seen someone so young have, you know, like the clot. She says, you're the youngest person I've ever seen. I'm like, wow, that makes me feel so bad. One thing, I'm the youngest person here and the youngest person she's ever experienced having this happen to. And I know she sees lots of patients. And of course, I'm sitting there, there's all these older, elderly people there, and I'm the youngest person there. So we go through all this heart stuff, because remember, I was still having the chest pains and all the things, and I end up in the hospital the third or fourth time, due to the chest pains, all that. So she's like, you know what, you need to do all this, do this, so all this workup, and she's basically just trying to make me afraid, and she's, you could have another stroke and all this. So I'm like, you know what, we did all the thing where I had to wear the monitor. Everything came back with my heart being fine. So thank God. So I go to see the practitioner far away, the holistic practitioner, back on track with her. So we do all of this, we do a communication over the phone. I tell her what happened to me. She goes, I think I can help you. She goes, I know exactly what happened to you. And sure enough, she did. Like this whole thing that she explained to me was like, yes. And she asked me all the questions that the so-called specialists and professionals that went to school for 10 plus years to have these degrees, where they failed to tell me anything, or she was able to tell me, okay, so she says it came from your neck, which, okay, I didn't know that before. And then it came from my neck, which I now know, muscle tightening, because I was having lots of spasms, and I didn't put connect the dots, because leading up to this, like I said, for a whole year, I was not feeling well. I was actually starting to have pain in my neck. I didn't really connect the dots at all. I was thinking, okay, because I'm on the road a lot, maybe it's something with I need to stretch or whatever it may be. Maybe it's from the accident I had several years ago. I don't know. So she's like, okay, so it came from the tightening of the neck, and I don't know how to pronounce all these words because I'm not scientific, I'm not in the medical field, that is not my cup of tea. But like I said, I'm gonna link her podcast here because it really breaks down a lot of different things that she helped me with, and she's helped several, I mean hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people holistically get better. So I meet up with her, and she sends me this paperwork, and she asks me all these questions that none of these specialists or none of the these professionals asked me. They never did ask me what was my eating habits. They never asked me about my stress levels. They never asked me if I get enough sleep. They never asked me about anything about me as a whole person. They only just was like, okay, let's figure out what's going on. You know, let's just figure out that. And then let's just give you some medication. You take this medication. So they never did ask me anything else, you know. So her, on the other hand, the person that I went to, she asked me all these questions. I had to fill out this form about my emotional, spiritual, psychological, physical, all the things about myself, to put how I am as a person in whole, just the whole me. So I had to answer all these questions. She sent me the paperwork, and by the time I went to go see her, we talked through everything, and we did some muscle testing. And she says, this is what happened to you. You basically, your occlusion came through your neck here, and it was the tightening of the muscles here, because remind you, I was having spasms. And with the projection or possible trajectory or outcome of possibly getting diagnosed with MS, in MS, you have lots of spasms, you have lots of nerve pain, you have a lot of other things. So basically, I was experiencing a lot of MS-like symptoms. So I had, the occlusion came from my neck. The muscles in my neck were tightening, which caused a temporary blockage right here in the left quadrant, like I had said. So it caused that with that, because like I said, my neck was hurting me for a lot. I was having a lot of spasms, lots of pain. And then with that, it was also restricting a lot of nerves up here, where I was saying I was having some pain, like where my skull meets my neck and down through the spine. So we did a lot of muscle testing. She laid me down. She helped with the massaging and like almost like a PT, physical therapy kind of thing. Helped me, and then she did muscle testing to see where I was weak in and where different muscles were compensating for different things. So we did all that, and then we talked about nutrition, my eating habits. She says, what are you eating? I said, well, this is what I eat: chicken, vegetables, mostly vegetables. I skip meals because I'm so busy. And then all these things. So we got to the point, and then she gave me some basic supplements, because she's been doing it so long, typically from doing it for so long and helping so many people, hundreds and hundreds of people out of state, even out of the country. She can identify what nutrients you're missing, what deficiencies you're having. Mine were B vitamins. So she's like, I need you to get B6, and I need you to start taking CoQ10. And she says, we're going to talk to the neurologist about getting you off of this medication, because looking at your blood work, you didn't have high cholesterol. Looking at your blood work, your blood is fine. Your blood is thin. It's all coming from the tightening of up here, which blocked it, and which also caused from other things. And then we talked about the chest ache and all of that, and she was able to break that down to me, which I know now from just going to her. There's a thing called the MS hug, and I've known people who have MS where they have the tightening of the chest. It feels like bricks are laying on them. And because I was also, whenever I would have that too, I'd also have some burning in other places. So she really, I mean, like really, really, really helped me. And like I said, with lots of prayer, lots of support, I was able to get on the path. Like I said, during that time, I was off from work, so I was able to, kind of start eating right. She's like, you need to eat, because I didn't eat, especially just getting out of the hospital. And I was like just so anxious, so stressed. So I wasn't eating on top of just like my regular life. I wasn't eating enough anyway. And then when I got out of the hospital, I was really stressed. My appetite was shot. I didn't want to eat. So I got really, 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 really emaciated. Not now. I've gained it all back, plus some. So anyway, so I started eating, and she's like, you really need to start consuming a nice steak. You really need to start consuming some beef. That's really what you need. And I have to say that was life-changing for me, because not only was I able to gain my muscle that I had lost, because I was, when I was during my healthy years, I was a very strong, muscular girl, athletic, active, very strong, and I had lost all of that when I was sick. So she's like, you need to eat some beef. Get a nice steak. Start with potatoes, steak, potatoes, ground beef, some green beans. Just start with the basics. Just do that. You need to eat eggs in the morning. Make sure that you get enough calories in the morning. So she started with that, and then she says, start adding these supplements: B6, CoQ10. We need to get you off this cholesterol medication because it's not making you feel well. We need to get you off of this because it's not making you feel well. So I stopped taking the aspirin, because I was taking that, which I didn't need that anymore. And then I was at the end of the blood thinner anyway, so I just had like a couple more weeks of that, got rid of that. The cholesterol medication, after I had spoke with the practitioner, holistic practitioner on the phone, I had told the neurologist, I'm not taking this anymore because this is making me worse. And so we did that. I probably shouldn't have did it, but I stopped cold turkey because that was making me feel really bad. And CoQ10 helps with cholesterol, and then what cholesterol medication actually depletes you of. So the CoQ10 definitely helped me. I also included some magnesium into there because with the muscle spasms and things of that sort, where it was like drastic change. It took me a while because I was really bad off, like really bad off. So this was in February. I didn't see the holistic practitioner until like May-ish, somewhere around there. So I was like, there was a 3 months, March, April, May, 3 months of just pure agony, not knowing what was going on until I seen the holistic practitioner. Then once I seen her, I was still going through a lot. It took me a while because what I've learned is you beat your body up for so long, and it takes a while for you to get there. It's also going to take a while for you to get on the other side of the positive. So I learned that, and it took me a few months. I went back to work like a little while after that because, like I said, it took some time off. I was still having a hard time, but I was hopeful. I was very hopeful. And I would say by October of 2023, yes, October 2023 is when I was able to function well. Like I wasn't as tired and I wasn't as fatigued. I didn't have any more of the chest pains, that tightness. I wasn't as emaciated. I had gained a lot of weight and some of my muscle back. I was able to be outside for long periods of time and be able to stand up. I was, for the most part, not experiencing severe dizziness and vertigo. So needless to say, it took a while, you know, a few months, and I still have to maintain that. And the maintaining is what the practitioner, the holistic practitioner, says to me. She says, the goal is to put your symptoms in remission. You have to put your symptoms in remission. So now I'm on a maintenance right now where, you know, I have to continue living a holistic, healthy lifestyle. That's why I cook on these, when I do the videos, I like to cook whole, healthy meals with whole foods, good foods, rich, dense foods that are really good for you. So, which I plan on doing more of the cooking videos as well, because I think you guys enjoy those. I always see lots of comments and I like cooking. So that is my goal. So needless to say, the reason why I'm telling you this story is because, and this is not bashing doctors or anything of that sort, but I am so passionate. And she also taught me, the practitioner taught me about the foods that we have now are so highly processed. When we think we're doing the right things for ourselves, which I thought I was, we're actually really not. We're really not, because our food is so heavily processed. They've been depleted of so many nutrients. That's why I'm so big on RFK Jr. He is doing a great work with our food system, because some people they're just eating stuff, packaged food, and it says natural, and they think, oh, I'm doing a great job, but they have like a list of ingredients on there that is really not good for them. So I really love and enjoy, and that's the reason why I was so much behind him, is because I'm very passionate about our food supply, our food system, how we feed our bodies, how we nurture our bodies, because that was really what helped me get on track. In addition to the spiritual side, like praying and all the things and all the support, but the food side of me nourishing my body on top of like the supplements and rest and focusing on healing and not driving myself into the ground, that I know that is really what helped me get back on the path to where I am today, where I'm able to work, where I'm able to walk long distances. Like, there was a time when I couldn't even walk very long. I had to sit down. I had to rest. I was weak. I was fatigued. I was dizzy. Like the other day, I was outside all day long. I walked and walked and walked. But as long as I kept it with nurturing myself, eating a good high protein breakfast, high protein lunch, staying on top of things, keeping my symptoms in remission. That is the goal. So I just wanted to give my story, and I'm just so grateful that where I am today. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I do have some moments where I'll get out of remission. Like, you know, I have some times where my legs will really hurt me, or have some nerve pains, or my fingers will get numb, or have pain in my head, or some burning, or things like that. But it's not for long, because I know how to get myself back on track. Because when you have a neurological issue, you have to stay on track in order to keep your symptoms in remission. So, but with a holistic practitioner, she helped me understand that and helped me get back, give me a triage plan whenever I do get off trail. So, but I will have to say I'm like feeling really good, and I'm so grateful, and I feel so blessed, and I hope this helps you, because a lot of people think, oh, I'm taking all this medication but I'm still not feeling well. I'm not telling you what to do, but I am saying that the holistic natural route worked for me. And I didn't even tell you all the things, all the sessions that I had and things that I had to do to work to get to this. I just wanted to tell you my story of that, the holistic natural approach, that nature, God gave us these natural things to heal us, to help us in nature, and that we don't have to turn to big pharma and just keep perpetuating the sickness and making money off of us. So that's what I wanted to do, is share my story. I hope this was helpful. If you're stuck it out to part 3, thank you so much. Share this video with others. It could be a help for people who may have been on the trail of being diagnosed with something as scary as MS, or an autoimmune disease, or something neurological, or had something similar happen to them, or are just not feeling well and they don't know where to turn. I want this video to be for them or for you, and I hope it was helpful, and I will see you in the next video. And let me know if you want to see some more recipes, what you would like for me to cook, because I'm up for trying new things. All right, see y'all later. Thanks.